right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show is our latest live episode. We recorded this one live from Maya Cinemas here in Las Vegas, and it is on the very ridiculous but very, very fun comedy Strays about a bunch of raunchy talking dogs. And we had a really great time talking about this one. Joining me for the recording was Toni Gonzales, her first time on the show. My mom, Toni Rosen, who's been on the show before, but never as a full-fledged guest. And then Michael Novelli from the Pawtastic Friends, a great dog enrichment organization here in Las Vegas. So great conversation coming up. Great time at the live show. I hope you enjoy it. It's coming up here in a second. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. You could also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Along with all that, we do have a Patreon. If you're enjoying the show, I just, am happy that you're out there listening. Of course, subscribing, commenting if you're, enjoying the episodes and maybe have a puzzle piece you want to throw into the mix. But you can also support the show that way. The Patreon has bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, from Awesome Movie Year, which is another movie podcast that I produce, and from my music career. So lots of great stuff over there. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. Check it out. And with that said, let's get into our live recorded episode from Maya Cinemas on Strays. So everybody, I'm David Rosen. I'm the host of Piecing It Together podcast, and what we do here is we talk about a movie through the lens of what other movies inspired it, and we're going to talk about this insane movie that we just watched, Strays. And this is going to be a ridiculous one to get into, but first I want to introduce my guest. Starting off just to my right here, she's been on my show on some special episodes before. She's also interrupted many of these live shows before, but she's a big dog person, and so I thought I would actually have her on the panel. This is my mom, Toni Rosen.
Yeah, thank you. The legend.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm proud to be here.
Yeah. What do you think of the movie, real quick?
Well, it's not Cujo.
Yeah.
But I really loved it. It was stupid, but I teared up once or twice.
Yeah, I think the makers of the movie would agree with you, but that's okay. They're going for as stupid as can be. So yeah. Just to the side there, we've got Toni Gonzales. Toni.
Hello, not the football player. Sorry to disappoint.
Thank you so much for being here. It's Toni's first time on this podcast. We are both in the Las Vegas Film Critics Society. I see her at all the screenings and all that stuff, and I'm happy to finally have her on the show.
Thanks for having me. I really and this was a fun one to start with.
Oh God, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to see what we all get into as we get into it. But just general quick thought. What did you think?
I loved it.
Yeah?
I mean, I think right now, because we're so used to seeing the artsy films, the ones that are multi-layered, and what do they really mean and very meta, this was a nice movie to just sit back, watch, and laugh your ass off.
Absolutely. I was saying earlier today, I told my mom, the response so far, as of the early screenings, we both skipped our critic screenings, but the response so far has been from, this is the worst movie I've ever sat through, to hilarious comedy, go see it.
And quite honestly, I think it was a mistake for us to skip that screening, because were you like me in that you were laughing so much you missed a lot of the lines?
Yeah. I was just laughing the whole time. Seriously, it was hilarious. On the end there, we've got Michael Novelli here from Pawtastic Friends. Michael, how's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk about Pawtastic Friends and letting us see this cool movie. We haven't been to the movies in a long time, so we're around dogs all the time, so seeing dogs talk is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear some of the dogs that you've worked with over the years, if any of them would be going on adventures like this, if you think.
And that's what Toni was just saying. She would like to hear what our dogs are thinking, and with us having all these dogs at our center, we have small dogs, big dogs, and I'm sure someone would say some of the swear words that were in this movie a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
a great movie.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I always like to get out there into the open what the show is and how it works first off for these live shows, because I know not everybody here has listened to Piecing It Together, the podcast, before. So what we do is we talk about a movie through the lens of what other movies might have inspired it, and those other movies we call puzzle pieces. And it could also be a TV show or some other kind of media. And I like to do with these live shows, I like to throw a puzzle piece out there right away, just get right into it. So that way anyone who's here doesn't know how the show works will kind of get into the idea. And I'm going to start off with 2016 Sausage Party, which is another movie about talking things. In that case, it's food and groceries from a grocery store who are all just insanely raunchy and awful. And obviously, like in this movie with the dogs, it's a big juxtaposition to have like talking animals, but they're also just awful. And it's kind of funny that when this movie was first announced and we first started seeing trailers, like I thought for sure, like some of those guys, like the Seth Rogans and the Jonah Hills and the James Francos, like all those guys were involved in this. But there's like totally different people with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx, and the director did Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar a couple years ago, which so funny, but like totally different from this. I mean, as crazy as this, but certainly not like raunchy or hard R, language or whatnot. But Sausage Party, though, just I don't know if everybody loves it. I loved that movie when it came out. I haven't seen it since it came out. I will say they have a TV series coming out from it, which is really weird. Like I can't imagine how they're going to expand upon that. But let's start with Mom. Did you see Sausage Party? You never saw it. Okay, I think you would love it. But
okay, so when you were very, very young, there were certain movies that you loved that we watched. When I say hundreds of times, like UHF and
sure
stuff like. How about? Do you remember John Belushi, the brother? James
K9.
K9.
Oh,
How many
God.
times did we watch K9? So it's a miracle we didn't end up getting a shepherd, but now we sort of have one.
Yeah, we've got an Australian shepherd,
so,
kind of.
Yeah. So actually, I just watch dog movies in passing by, whatever I find.
Well, you watch tons of them, and I know Dad loves dog movies too. So
bear movies.
We're
not going to talk about Hachi, because if we talk about, I say the word Hachi.
Hachi's the other end of the spectrum from this.
That to me, if anybody ever has clogged tear ducts, just put on Richard Gere in Hachi and see if you can make I can't even talk about it.
Well, maybe I'm a complete idiot, but I was crying during this movie. So.
I teared up twice.
Yeah. Well, back to Sausage Party. Tony, you a fan of that one?
I'm like you. I saw it and I haven't seen it since. I remember it being really raunchy and funny.
Yeah.
But also like you, and I tend to not agree 100% all the time, but I 100% agree with you. Is I'm not sure how that's going to translate to television.
Right.
Necessarily, but... Yeah, that's kind of what I expected with this, but I can completely see where you would get that thorough line. Yeah, 100%.
Michael, Sausage Party, you a fan of that one?
Haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to have to.
Yeah, if you like things that shouldn't be talking, saying fuck a lot.
This movie definitely said
it's on
that a lot.
They sure did, absolutely. My mom says that a lot too.
What this movie kind of reminded me, there was a movie called Knocked Up with Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl. And they say fuck a lot in that movie. And Seth Rogen was intaking the marijuana like the character in this movie. Yeah. And he was looking for his way, just like Reggie in this movie.
Yeah.
Trying to find his way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it was kind of, the same kind of concept.
Yeah,
Where am I going in life?
Yeah, well, I mean, he has to learn to grow, and this adventure, as off color and weird and out there as it is, it's kind of his growth. Even though normally you'd associate that with more of like a coming of age sweet movie, Right. But yeah, absolutely. Mom, let's go to a puzzle piece. What do you have?
No, I'm just thinking, who's the rapper that does "I ain't a player, I just fuck a lot."
That's big pun. Thank you.
Oh man,
yes.
I loved him. Boy, something like that. Yo, Barica. Yeah. Okay.
I love your mother.
No,
I don't know what's happening.
Sonny's the best. We love Sonny.
No, I don't have a real puzzle piece because I like more like stupid horror when it comes to animals.
Did it remind you of any stupid horror when it comes to animals? Any bears wrecking shit or crocodiles or Jaws or anything?
Grizzly Park is one of my all-time favorites.
Grizzly Park. Let's talk about that. Tell us about Grizzly Park.
These kids do bad stuff, so they have to spend, I guess, a week cleaning up a park with this forest ranger is in charge, and the kids, they did bad stuff. They might have smoked a little marijuana or something. And then sure enough, a bear shows up. And one of the great scenes is when this girl is going to take a shower and there's a window there and the bear swipes at her through the window and her implants come flying out.
Oh my god.
So that to me is classic. You can't make something like that.
I feel like we all have to watch Grizzly Park now, but I will say Doug kind of exhibits some of those traits, and so of course he gets his in the end. So I think you can use Grizzly Park as a puzzle piece here, Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good first one.
I watched The Revenge very recently. Grizzly Part 2, The Revenge. It was so awful. I mean, the original Grizzly is great. And then the movie The Bear, where nobody spoke until like the very end. That's great.
I don't think this is
I
like
didn't
the bear,
like
though.
Revenant because the bear was fucking Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay,
And
let's
there was
move
a
on to
big
another.
I thought, is that bear really fucking him? You know?
You're going to run out of puzzle pieces here, Mom, if you keep
Okay.
throwing them out there. Let's move on to Tony's first piece.
I have two. Do you want them both now, or do you want just one?
Let's do one. Mom's just throwing them out there one after another. Let's do just one, though.
Mine's kind of a little G-rated, but I actually thought it was really reminiscent of Toy Story.
Yeah.
I mean, this Buzz Lightyear with his innocence and his just, everything is peachy and quite literal really reminded me of Reggie. And, Bug's kind of the guy. And they're all just trying to get back to the owner. They're all just trying,
Right.
Obviously it's a little different in that he wants revenge. And in Toy Story, they just want to get back to Andy.
Yeah.
But they have to go through all these adventures as a group. And
Yeah.
each has their own, little flavor and their own little things. And it got rough there for a little while,
Sure.
no pun intended. But
No, that's good.
that's one where I kept thinking it was just like these little animated things that you think can't speak, don't speak, but yet we give them life a lot like our pets.
Yeah.
So I kind of, equated it to Toy Story a lot.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, speaking of giving them life, and like our pets all speak, they all have their own voices and all that. I just released an album called The Pup Pups, by the way, insert plug. But no, I think Toy Story, though, is great. And also, you get to meet all these other characters along the way, and here we've got like the dog, the narrator dog, and like all the dogs at the park and all that stuff, and the cats who are just like, fuck you quietly. Or, well, I think the dog said it to them. But,
The narrator dog was the best.
He was the
Because it was
best.
so the only thing that would have made it perfect was if he were a golden retriever
Oh,
as
right.
opposed to a lab. But other than that,
Yeah.
I mean, I just died at
Yeah.
that part because it was so true and so spot on. But yeah, they had, the little girl who's like, little Miss Bo Peep. And it was just, it was cute for an adult. And it was perfect, and I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. Michael, do you got something over there? A puzzle piece?
I've got a lot of different ideas, but nothing. I want to hear your second one because I was so excited.
Oh, no.
But I don't want to throw out the order here. Yeah, I'm gonna cheat and let her second one be.
Tony,
my
let's
first
go
one.
into your next one, and then
So also an animated film. You're going to go, why animated? Okay, I actually thought it was very reminiscent of Up.
okay,
Do you remember in the beginning, did everybody here see Up?
sure.
It was, you were 5 minutes in and you were like, this is supposed to be an animated freaking movie. And I'm bawling my eyes out.
Right.
It was the same thing with this. I'm like, okay, if anybody touches the dog, I'm out. Like, sorry.
Yeah,
But this one, really started out on kind of like a sad note. And you're like, oh, no, just like you were with Up. And then you met a dumb dog who was kind of a little,
yeah,
a little too idealistic, if you will.
yeah.
And that just kind of reminded me of Doug,
Totally.
completely. And they had like a cantankerous guy with the wheelchair and antennas balls. And
Yeah.
so I don't typically watch animated movies that much. And I know you probably think because both of my puzzle pieces are animated, but these two just really kind of went hand in hand with me.
They absolutely fit. I think that they're both great, and it definitely has like that kind of a vibe and that kind of an adventure. I'll throw in some. I'm gonna go with Homeward Bound
Yeah.
for my first puzzle piece, as far as like talking dogs on an adventure, and of course, a more squeaky clean, family friendly version of that. But that is exactly what this is. It's taking that idea of like, what if these dogs could talk? What if they get together and go on an adventure. And, you know, I love the whole thing of like, you know, you never quite know where it's going to go each day of their trip and if they're going to even be able to do it. But of course they're going to be able to do it because it kind of follows a family movie trajectory, except it's super hard R and all over the place.
Do you remember Lassie? That's one of your...
Lassie had a dog.
Lassie is one of your father's nicknames because he always gets lost on his way home from the store, but he always comes home. His other nickname is also very dog-related. You know, the wrinkled forehead? Uh-huh. Sharpay head.
Oh, my gosh.
That's another... You should hear the bad nicknames.
Just
Those for the good ones.
Out of curiosity, what is he in your phone? Is it his name, or do you have a nickname for him for a caller ID?
Oh, you mean like Dick? No. Dick usually says Dad, and I sort of vomit within myself.
I think that's because we shared contacts at some point, and somehow it just got saved in there.
Rin Tin Tin.
Yeah.
Remember the shepherd? Yeah, he was a real hero. It was a real...
So we're just going to name dog heroes here. I'm all for it. That
The
works.
list is long of that one. What about when they're in this movie, they're doing the scene where they're all walking down the railroad tracks? Mm-hmm. Tell me what movie you thought about that, because I know for sure what mine was.
Some Stand By Me in there?
Absolutely. That was it. 100%. I was like, this is that's such a callback.
There were a few things like that, and I don't know if any of you guys have any other ones, but a few things like that where there was like individual scenes that kind of like reminded me of specific things, even though it's just one scene within the movie. But like when they finally get to Doug and they're all just kind of taking turns on him and like messing him up, like it was like Gulliver's Travels / Army of Darkness, all the little guys just like, just totally just coming at him from different angles and he can't catch his bearings, so I thought of that. Also, just we haven't had Will Ferrell, like, he's gotten older and you don't, expect him to do this kind of stuff anymore, but we haven't had him just like yelling a lot, in a while. So I was thinking of Old School, of him just like losing it and just screaming,
See, and it's funny you say Old School. I was thinking Elf.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing where he's just trying to be gotten rid of by his owner or his father in this case, but he's so like, but I love you and you're my owner and I didn't even know you were bad. And
yeah.
I want to be here, and so completely innocent.
Yeah.
And I just thought that, because with his voice, obviously you can't see facial expressions, but Will Ferrell has that voice that you could he just know he's just so innocent and hopeful, and the poor dog had no idea he was had one of the worst owners on the planet, just like he did in Elf. He had one of the worst fathers, and it all kind of comes together in the end. But it's funny you should say Old School.
That's a great one. Yeah, Elf is an awesome one to include here. Michael, you got anything you want to?
Yeah, so the other one, speaking of Will Ferrell, Step Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When he was, his new stepbrother, and they were trying to figure out how to get along, and don't play my drum set. And then his older brother, he hated his older brother, and he used to always battle it out, and then at the end, he saved them. The Catalina wine mixer.
Yes.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
so
right.
true.
They became best friends.
So he was finding his way, just like Reggie in this movie.
Yeah. No, I love that.
That's
Absolutely.
a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
It's funny, like, I was just saying about Will Ferrell, we haven't seen like letting loose and yell. Like, we really haven't gotten many of these kinds of like hard R rated comedies lately. Like this year we did have a couple. It feels like they're trying to bring them back. We had No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence and Cocaine Bear, but this one like falls right into that kind of a vibe, and it's something that I think has been missing. And so I'm glad. I hope this does well. I mean, we're seeing it right as it's opening. Like, I hope people enjoy this movie and like go out and see it. Maybe we'll get more stuff like this. Mom, I think you have something you were about to bring up there.
He was naked in that movie, Old School.
Who was?
Will Ferrell. We didn't get to see maybe his butt, but I always look for naked men in movies.
Yeah. We saw a dog penis in this movie.
Yeah, that was exceptionally, yes.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of
What's your
dog
favorite
penis.
line from that movie, Sonny?
From which one?
From Old School.
I swear to God, I don't remember.
I was thinking, you're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
Okay.
Absolute classic
That's
line.
great.
That's a great one. Now, I couldn't remember. Do you guys remember, not to make this a Will Ferrell podcast by any stretch of the imagination, but
Shake and bake.
Shake and Bake?
Yes.
I don't know what to do with my hands. in Anchorman. He had the dog that he would always talk to.
Oh, Baxter.
Didn't Baxter look a little like
You're right.
Reggie?
Is
Or
this
was
like
that
a
just
shared
me?
universe, possibly?
Did
Like,
they cross
I
over?
thought Reggie looked like Benji a little bit.
yeah, a little bit. That's what Baxter looked
Yeah,
like.
they came home one night from the movies, him and his father, maybe 20 years ago or something. And I remember Richie said to me, we cried. And I said, why? Did you drop your popcorn? And he said, no, it was Benji. They were
I saw Benji in the theater.
with your dad. Or Benji too, maybe. Maybe Benji too.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he took me to see the Deadpool, the Clint Eastwood movie, when I was like 8 or something, 7 or 8.
Oh, we took you to some bad stuff, I guess.
Name some of them into the mic.
Oh, we didn't take you to Jaws because you weren't even in our mind at that time. That was Mitchell.
And my dad took me to see Scarface.
Nice. There you go.
Okay.
This might have had more swearing than Scarface, and Scarface had a lot.
Yeah,
No
that's
kidding.
true.
No
That is
kidding. We should have
absolutely
done a
right.
counter
Just like Pulp
on
Fiction. A lot
Yeah.
of swearing in that one too.
100%. The Wolf of Wall Street. That might
Wolf
have
of Wall Street.
That count was
This
definitely
gives
up
all
there.
those a run for their money. But I'll throw another one in, and then maybe we'll open it up to the floor for some puzzle pieces. But I wanted to bring up Isle of Dogs, the Wes Anderson film, which is a movie that I love, one of my favorite Wes Anderson films, but a movie that takes these dogs and really gives them the personalities that we know and love about dogs. Like, it's not just animated dogs. It's like they have all the traits of real dogs, like the trying to get to sleep on the ground and trying to spin in a circle and like all those awkward, weird little tics that dogs have and that we love about them. And that's one of the things that I love so much about Isle of Dogs. Like, there's this one thing where they sneeze every few minutes through the movie, and it just reminds me of like how they do that thing, and like just all those like little things that are just so perfectly captured about the oddness of dogs. And that's why I love them, because they're just so goofy and silly and fun. And Isle of Dogs did it so well. I thought this did it well too.
You're totally right. The eating of the vomit was one thing I thought, okay, but that's totally true.
Yes.
Anybody who's had a dog knows that happens all the time. Or the sniffing of the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Like that in society, we would never do that. Why do we allow our best friends to do that? But
They don't do that at Pawtastic, do they?
No, but one of the unique, funny things I think is when they put the dog booties on them to walk out on the concrete.
Yeah.
And they do that little doop doop.
Oh, I love
and
that.
It's hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
I'm
got
trying
a
to figure it out.
I have a video you have to see.
You're gonna have to send that to me.
I'm
We'll
going
share
to
it on our
because
page.
it is fantastic talking about that. But
Yeah.
anyway, neither here nor there.
Doggy boots are great. Doggy shoes are great.
They are so cute. I love
Yeah.
that.
They're like, what's on my feet? It's like a spacewalk.
Well, I've got some prizes, and if anybody in the audience here has any puzzle pieces they want to throw into our list here, we got prizes for you. We got Strays stuff. We got my new album, The Pup Pups, with all songs about dogs and cats. Does anybody have anything? I see a hand right there.
So I actually wore my shirt because I thought of it. It's Deadpool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Parts 1 or 2, 2016 Deadpool, or Part 2. The first thing I noticed was the marketing of this movie. It's a lot of white, red, and black. Like
Oh.
in terms of like the posters and the title card and everything. So that's one.
That's
But
interesting.
also the different like I guess shock scenes of Deadpool. There's crazy scenes with people getting their heads cut off and
Yeah.
crazy violence. There's sexual stuff in both movies of like really crazy to watch on screen. So there's a lot of like shock value moments in
Sure.
both these moments, like shock sequences. for
I,
sure.
I think that's great, and you're absolutely right. I mean, look, these tennis balls and stuff that we have, it's all red, white, and black. Everything in the marketing, you're totally right about that. And yeah, I mean, it's just totally going for shock value, which is exactly like the entire shtick of Deadpool. And it's funny, while you were saying that, like I was thinking, if this movie is a hit, what could they do with this movie for, future
Strays 2.
installments or whatever, Strays 2. Deadpool, they did that weird little spin-off thing where it was Deadpool 2, but they like Christmasified it. Like a Christmas Strays would actually be like really fun, them getting presents or whatever, some shit goes down with the family, whatever. Like that could be really fun. So, we got some Deadpool fans over here.
Oh yeah, Deadpool's. I mean, come on! It was it was a lot like a superhero movie just for us adults, in the same way that like Shrek was for kids,
Mm-hmm.
but had adult things in it that only adults got,
Right.
and made it so that's how I kind of feel about that.
Yeah.
But I loved it because it was just, even though it seemed like it appealed to a broader audience, it was raunchy and funny in that same way.
Yeah, I think people want that. You know, like I was saying earlier, like we're kind of starting to get some R-rated comedies back again, and I think people do want that. And obviously, Deadpool 3 is on the way, and well, like I said, we'll see how this movie does. But
Now, I wonder, do you think a movie like this would be harder or easier to shoot?
ooh, that's a good question. I mean, the effects were really good. Like they made the dogs really like fit in and talk well. Like I don't know. It must be a challenge, though.
I would think it'd be, half of one, dozen of another. I mean, because you don't really have the Hollywood personalities necessarily on set. You just have them in a booth, with a microphone, not
Yeah.
unlike us here. But then you have dogs. What do they say? Never work with children and dogs. So I
Right.
was just curious to see what you guys thought, if it would be easier or harder.
Yeah, I'm not sure about easier or harder. I will say, though, that I believe this was Jamie Foxx's last role before he started having some health problems. And man, did he kill this movie.
He killed it.
Unbelievable.
He was
We
great.
work with dogs every day, and it's not easy. 'Cause
No,
you
I
never know
believe
what
it.
they're going to do.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Even though I don't work with dogs, you're absolutely right.
Try to take photos and videos of dogs. It's a challenge. So what they did here was amazing.
It was great. It
was absolutely amazing.
It really was. It wasn't. I mean, there were a couple parts that were a little too fake, but
Yeah.
come on, it was still great.
Try
Yeah.
to get a dog to sit and get the head straight, and they got a whole.
You should try getting the Rosen dogs to do stuff.
Not one of them listens. So I think I'm batting 1,000. I say come, they turn around. I say sit, they disappear. It's perfection.
Absolutely.
Now Michael's trainers are terrific because they're working with strays.
Okay,
That's what they do.
I need your help then because
Rescues.
my dog does not stay. So we're gonna exchange
We'll
information
talk.
after. Yeah,
We'll definitely
absolutely,
talk.
100%.
But we won't teach your dog how to say fuck.
No, don't.
Good idea.
Although I'm pretty sure he probably already does anyway. Like, what
Yeah.
is this lady doing?
We just can't hear it, but they're probably saying it.
Yeah,
No doubt,
absolutely.
no doubt.
Do we have any other puzzle pieces in the audience? Right here in the front.
Just from the adventure standpoint, Finding Nemo.
Okay.
It was something that I saw where he got lost and then he went on these adventures to go try to find his dad again, and of course went through all these different adventures. Another animation, but
Sure.
that's kind of what I saw on the G-rated side. But yeah, I loved the movie.
Yeah, there's so much Pixar here. So Finding Nemo, absolutely, and we were talking earlier about Toy Story and Up, but there's so much of that here. And I mean, dogs are just so cute, and they're usually so part of a family-friendly thing. So I mean, it's almost impossible not to go in that direction, even when you're filling their mouths with all this crap.
No, that's totally true.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Anybody who owns a dog just looks at him and go, I look at my dog all the time, and I think if he had a voice, what kind of a voice would he be?
Yeah.
So yes, I totally understand that.
What do we got? I saw some more hands over there.
I was thinking Ted because I didn't know what I was looking into.
Yes.
And it looks so
Ted.
innocent, and dogs, and
Oh,
it's so adult
yeah.
and raunchy and drugs and cussing.
The little
and
bear.
It just had that kind of it's usually for children, but it's not.
Yes, absolutely. I think, I don't know, maybe Tony, if you happen to know this, but was Ted the highest rated,
It was.
highest grossing
It was-
R-rated comedy of all time?
It was ridiculous. I think they're for a time though. I don't
Yeah.
think necessarily
I
say.
think it maybe Deadpool actually is what beat it out, but
Right.
yeah.
But then they had to come and make Deadpool 2 a little PG-13, I think is what it ended up being, because they realized they could make a little bit more money if they
Squeeze some money out of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So
Yeah. But no, I was actually thinking about Ted as well. I think that's a great one. And yeah, just giving voices to things that shouldn't have voices, kind of like Sausage Party we were talking about earlier, but making those voices just as raunchy as hell and just going all the way over the top with it. We had another one from the crowd over there.
So you actually took the one I was thinking of, Homeward Bound, which
Sure.
is one of my favorite movies from childhood. But the other one was Garfield.
Oh.
With regards to the animation, in terms of how they were making the animals talk, which in Garfield I don't think they did it very well, and they're obviously disappointing in terms of them only animating Garfield but not the others. And I also saw that style in Dr. Dolittle. So you go back to the one with Eddie Murphy.
Uh-huh.
So you talk about it's impossible to make to work with kids or dogs. It's like, well, I can imagine how difficult it would be to animate that. I thought they did a pretty good job, making it look like they were talking.
Yeah.
As we were going through it, it was like, this is a little reminiscent of Garfield, but this one was a heck of a lot funnier.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love Garfield, but they could have done better with that movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in so many years, but I could imagine. But, to that point, though, about how hard this might have been, we were talking about it earlier, then talking about it there with Dr. Dolittle, you don't have any humans here for most of the movie to kind of share the screen with. And so it has to be so flawless for a movie like this to kind of work. Otherwise, it's just going to look like crap. And I think they did a great job of actually making all these animals kind of exist in this world that we're watching, and they don't look just like CGI or anything like that. They look like dogs talking. So.
See, now I hope they merchandise these in that, how they've done everything barbified lately.
Oh, sure.
Let's hope they make everything regified.
Yeah.
Or, that would be so great. I would buy that.
Okay, what I didn't like, now that I think about it, was when the dog knew that the guy hitting on the girl was a serial killer and had if he wasn't bullshitting, and there were three, well, that was something they didn't close. They
you wanted more of that spin-off?
There should have been
That's a good point.
a torture scene and the dogs coming in and rescuing her or something. But don't bring up a point and not have an end to it. I used to take writing classes.
That's a great
when I was
point.
young.
So in the sequel, you're gonna tell about that.
I want to know all about that serial murderer rapist.
You could just go watch that Dahmer show on Netflix. It was pretty good.
Oh, I never saw it, the Jeffrey Dahmer thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Just watch this and that back to back, and you've got your whole story.
He looked a lot like that guy Bernie from the Subway who shot all those guys.
Bernie from the Subway who shot all those guys. Does anybody else have...
The Subway guy, you want a piece of this? And then he shot the 4 kids. I'm not sure if any of them died. Because
Wow, this is getting dark, Mom.
No kidding.
you like a Law and Order. I'm hooked on Law and Order.
Done.
Dun dun. Yeah, that's how we should end this.
We got another one in the front here.
I was gonna say I didn't know it was a Lord Miller production, and although it wasn't directed by them,
Sure.
I was gonna say 21 Jump Street or
Right.
22.
Yeah.
In terms of again crazy sequences, a drug trip sequence,
Yeah.
the end scene. I won't say it, but the end scenes are very similar. And the movies, so definitely felt like one of their movies.
I was thinking about those as well. I think you're absolutely right. The 21 Jump Street movies, they're just so out there, so over the top. And everybody in those movies, you can feel that they are just having so much fun making them. And you could tell, even though we're not seeing these actors, it's just their voices, you could tell they're just having just a blast making this.
So much fun. Have you seen the behind the scenes? It's on YouTube. You guys can check it out. But just of the actors playing off of each other and the bloopers that they have and the alt lines that they have, go on YouTube and check out the Strays page because it's got some really good content on there.
So now to go to the opposite end of the spectrum, that Channing Tatum movie with a dog. And he
Dog.
And he has to bring the dog to the guy's funeral.
Yeah.
So is that a puzzle piece?
You know what?
Total depression.
We'll allow it. It's definitely a little more depressing, but yeah.
Depressing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a solid movie. It's called Dog, and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not that old.
He has to bring a military dog across country, and so they get into adventures on a cross country track. Him and the dog. This is all dogs, and they say fuck a lot, so it's different, but definitely dogs on an adventure for sure. So
Okay.
we
That's
could.
my last piece.
That's a good last piece.
That's a great
to
one,
end it on.
actually.
I think that's perfect.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
I think that does it. I think we got into a lot of really good stuff with these puzzle pieces we talked about. So I think we could wrap it up there. Mom, is there another movie you watched recently that you'd like to recommend to our listeners and our audience here?
Here in the theater, you mean?
And the people listening at home.
Oh, Meg 2.
Yes.
And he did take a shower in the beginning, but you didn't get to see anything. So that was the only reason I went. I said I'll even go to Meg 3 if he takes another
Full
shower.
circle. Back to the naked men again.
She sure did.
Oh
She sure did.
God, I could look at that body forever. But
and
Meg 2 is probably about the stupidest movie I've seen, and I see only stupid movies. I would say it's the stupidest of all for the last 5-10 years.
I love that the last few movies my mom has seen in the theater are Meg 2, this, and Oppenheimer. Like what a list of
Scrambled.
movies.
My brains are totally scrambled.
Ay,
So-
ay, ay. Tony, what's the best thing you've seen recently?
Oh, what's the best? I've been watching a lot of television lately.
Okay.
Law and Order.
A lot, Law and Order,
Every night.
SBU. What have I been? I can't even. What have we been watching? We've been watching Winning Time on HBO. We got the series there. But I think we were near the finale. I think that has been really fun to watch.
Okay.
A few things on Apple that are coming out that are just spectacular. Lessons in Chemistry, which was a book that got turned into a series. That's been really great. And movie-wise, I also enjoyed Oppenheimer. But part of that is because I grew up in New Mexico, and I've been to the site, so that to me maybe gave it a little bit more flavor for me. But
Yeah.
it would probably be the last theatrical release that I saw that I liked
Right
very
on.
much.
How about you, Michael?
Well, this is the first time I've been in a movie theater in about 4 years.
That's
'cause-
awesome. I'm glad that you're in a
So
movie
thank you
theater
for
right
the
now.
invite.
Tell them why. Tell them what you've been doing for years.
Well, we work full time, and then we have Pawtastic Friends. We have our enrichment training center for the rescue dogs. So, 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So this was cool to actually sit in here and watch a movie. I was trying to keep my eyes open because if it gets dark in here and it's comfortable. But,
They have nice seats here at Maya
oh my
Cinema.
Yeah,
Lord.
you couldn't get
I
over
missed
the
my movie
seats.
seats. I was telling your mom in
Yeah.
my house. But for TV, I was trying to catch some of this Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been to that yet, or the 1923, but 1924 is it?
1923.
23,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
there's 1883
Yes.
that I
Okay.
just finished, and Taylor Sheridan, I believe.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's fantastic. You
Yeah.
would like his movie Hell or High Water.
I'll have
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch that
That's what got me
because
started on him.
Yeah.
The writing and the girl narrating the story, it was a fantastic TV show.
Right on.
So I
Absolutely.
really enjoed it.
That's
Awesome.
Have you guys seen 1883?
I have my dad watches it in Wax Trax, and we hear just shooting and
Yeah.
yelling and everything while people are trying to shop. But
In
I have a side story.
Oh,
So
boy.
this guy makes a movie here in town. His name is, I think, Christopher. No. Well, forget his name. It's not important. He made some movie. And Richie's watching a movie up the first floor. And this guy is shooting the movie downstairs. I don't remember the name of it or his name. I'm friends on Facebook. And one of the actresses comes upstairs and says to Richie, "Could you lower your movie? We're filming downstairs." And he was very offended.
well,
I
mom.
love your mom. I love your mom.
Oh, wait, one of the last movies I saw, you forgot. Let's do the time warp
Oh,
again.
yeah,
Yep.
that's right. That's
Yep,
right. We went
right.
to see Rocky Horror.
Yep, we did.
Awesome.
Wow.
Mom,
Yeah.
do you want to plug anything?
I want to plug Pawtastic Friends.
So we'll do a double
Yes.
Pawtastic
I
Friends
wanna hear
plug.
More about Pawtastic Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, you should really do it, but I'll start it.
Go
How's
for
that?
it.
So years ago, Michael and Melissa would, on their days off, they would go to the NSPCA and they would walk the dogs that were in the kennels. And then they decided they could do this kind of thingy on their own. And it took a little bit of time, and they opened up a 5,000 square foot training center. And the idea is if you go to any kind of a rescue here in town, there's better than a 50% chance that Michael and Melissa at Pawtastic Friends work with that rescue, and they may have a dog in there that you fall in love with, and the dog can't be leashed, and the dog doesn't even know how to sit or anything. All the donations go to these dogs getting training, which doesn't cost the rescues anything. And then you can end up adopting a dog of your dreams. And they work with a lot of breeds that are put down frequently. Is that a good way to put it?
That's the proper way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
A
lot,
lot.
of bigger dogs and pit bull dogs that
Lot
are
of
labeled
pitties.
as mean, and it's the owners. I mean,
Right.
we've seen little dogs that are 5 pounds that are.
What
Yeah.
are the biggest challenges you guys are facing right now in this?
Money.
In this.
Well,
economy?
right now, Las Vegas is so overcrowded with animals in the shelters. I mean, if you call a shelter right now, they're telling you don't bring the dog for 3 weeks.
Right.
Don't bring
Yeah,
the dog
if you
for a
find one on
week.
the street, you can't even get
So last night, one of our friends, Mark Chinook, and I was just telling you briefly, he called us last night. Somebody tied a dog to a tree in his neighborhood.
You did tell me that.
I went to the center. I got the chip reader. No chip. So he goes, what do we do? So he kept the dog last night at his house, and then we found one of our rescue partners to take the dog today. And the dog is small, probably 30 pounds. I met the dog, giving kisses, giving licks.
Beautiful.
So people, unfortunately right now, they're so overwhelmed with what's going on in the world, they can't take care of their dogs.
Oh, that's...
But you know, a dog is a lifetime commitment. It's not like you get a new girlfriend, you get a new boyfriend, you get a new baby, you know. That's what people really need to.
Yeah, you remember
think
that.
about.
Boyfriends up there in the not always a lifetime commitment. Just so we're on the same
Not
page
in
here.
marriage, but some of us are too lazy to go to a lawyer.
And then the most important thing when we're all growing up, Bob Barker helped control the pet population, every pet spayed or neutered.
Oh, Price is Right.
Nothing drives me more crazy than when somebody has a pit bull or a chihuahua, like, oh, it's so cute, I just want to have one litter. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. You know, they don't want to be in the shelter. So many dogs are losing their lives and animals because people are being irresponsible. So the people need to be held accountable. We need to do better with our laws and rules and regulations.
Could not agree with you more.
Absolutely.
It's,
Could
you
not.
know, so the more people that can help us help the dogs, we change and save lives at Pawtastic Friends, and we can help our rescue partners and save lives. And that's exactly what this program does. We've had over 619 dogs adopted that have been through our program.
And how many
Fantastic.
rescues are you working with currently?
Right now, there's 28 signed up to participate. We have 52 spots available. We need more time. We need another center. We need more committed people. So we're always looking for volunteers and
Yeah.
people to help, because our building right now with the training costs, the landlord gets paid, our trainers get paid because they have to pay their bills, utilities. It's about $250,000 a year
Wow.
to run this. So we just go on the good graces of people donating. So always looking for businesses, people to donate. You know, the
Yeah.
Rosens, thankfully for them, are huge supporters.
Zip it!
Yeah.
Zip it! In case he's hiding in the back.
Richie's not listening. Does Richie listen? Does Dad listen to the podcast?
He doesn't know how, but I'm sure he would.
So we're good. Richie, Sonny gave us $5 last month.
The rescue that I work with is the retriever rescue here in Las Vegas, and the golden retrievers.
Okay.
We've had a few of the Vegas Golden Knights adopt from us, but what we do is, and I think that we may be one of your partners. I'm not entirely sure, but we rescue dogs from Korean meat farm
Oh,
dogs.
God. Oh, God.
Literally destined for the dinner plate, and I rescued 2 dogs. One unfortunately just passed, another one just came. So cute, but so dumb. Murphy is he's just the best. But I can completely relate to you and the need for money and volunteers and time, because so many rescues, not necessarily just ours, they're so dependent on the community, and
Absolutely.
and dog lovers are a community in and of themselves. And I think if people realized how much joy a dog can bring to a responsible dog owner,
Oh yeah.
there would be no need for shelters.
And that's the key word you said, responsible dog owner.
That's true.
Because a lot of people that have dogs don't deserve dogs.
Agreed 100%.
Yeah.
We get dogs that come in that are abused, so we help them build trust, we help them build confidence, we help them build the skills to become more adoptable. You know, because sometimes you go in a shelter and there's a dog in there and the shelter doesn't really know much, so we help the shelter and the rescues learn about their dog.
Well, maybe if we sent them on an adventure like the Strays dog went on,
Yeah.
that would help build some confidence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's everybody working together, and that's why a lot of people like Pawtastic Friends, because we help everybody. We do what's best for the dogs. There's no drama. Nobody's got time for that. You know, you're helping change and save lives. So what you do at the rescue there, and you know what all the other rescues do here around the country, it's a great thing.
Fantastic thing.
And they're not doing it for a pat on the back. They're not doing it for a check. They're doing it because they truly love dogs and want to help change lives and save lives.
Yeah.
they do.
Absolutely. This is exactly why I had you guys on this particular episode for a movie like this. So, you know, I just wanted to make sure anybody who's listening after they've seen this movie knows there are these kinds of organizations that they can, you know, get involved with. So there will be links in the show notes down below. So anybody who's listening at home will be able to check you guys out.
Thanks so
And,
much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing the show. I hope everybody here in the theater had a good time. This was the third of 3 in a row that we did here at Maya Cinemas. We will hopefully be announcing some more soon. But that is today's show, so thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur. We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Trax, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Strays. It was such a fun time doing the live show. That was the third of 3 live shows we did at Maya Cinemas this summer. We haven't scheduled our next ones yet, but I'm sure we will be announcing something very soon. There are so many movies to cover in the coming months, so keep an eye out and make sure you're subscribed. You could subscribe to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you're listening right now, of course. And if you're enjoying the show, maybe drop us a little 5-star rating and review. If that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, that would be very helpful. And of course, follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. I'm recording this right before this giant Hurricane Hillary hits ground, and who knows what the hell is going on right now when this episode is hitting the feed on Monday, but hopefully we're all good. But there will be lots of Piecing It Together on the way, so make sure you're subscribed. Aside from that, I did tell you about the Patreon. I'll be releasing a special bonus exclusive album to the Patreon in the next week. So, if you want to maybe sign up for that, there's no better time. We just dropped a bunch of exclusive Awesome Movie Year episodes. There's some Piecing It Together episodes to check out. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. I do appreciate the support. And one last thank you to Maya Cinemas for having us out for these live shows. And like I said, hopefully we'll be back soon. So let's close this out with a piece of music. And of course, there's nothing that would be a better fit for a movie like Strays than a song from my recently released, long delayed, but finally out there in the world album of songs about dogs and cats. It is called the Pup Pups, Who Wants Din Din? And this is 19 songs all about just how fun and ridiculous and adorable dogs and cats are. And some of the songs are actually sung by my dogs, and this one that I'm about to play is sung by Harvey. It's called Big Dog 2, and it's really, really cute and ridiculous, and Harvey is the best, and he's sitting right behind me right now while I record this. So I hope you enjoy Big Dog 2 from the Pup Pups album, Who Wants Din Din, which is available right now on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming places, and on a limited edition CD that you can get at thepuppups.bandcamp.com. You could also go to my website, bydavidrosen.com, and there's links to where you could get it. Also at Wax Trax Records here in Las Vegas. And I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
Little dog, big old heart. Mama says that's the important part. I see another dog and I start to shout, because I gotta show him what I'm all about. Well, you think that I'm little, but I got
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.